All right, Mr. Claxton's Algebra 1 students, you do have this assignment tonight. It forces us to think about the distributive property a different way. The goal here is for us to learn how to apply the distributive property in many situations. We are leading up to that with by using integer values. Oh, excuse me. And I want you to gain that firm understanding before we start using variables. The distributive property will be used throughout the rest of your algebra career, so it's extremely important for you to understand it. You had lesson 2.5, the lesson activity. The first few questions should be very straightforward. You have two different rectangles here. Actually, two of the same rectangle, they just look a different way. This one is 15 by 24, this one is 5 plus 5 plus 5 by 12 plus 12. So you can see what they are wanting you to do without giving you the answer. I'm not going to give you the answer to that one. I am going to do an example with you. When they're talking about the diagram at the right, showing a rectangular region above, the rectangular region above that they're talking about was this one right here. Okay, so all they did was, and I think you can see it, they cut the 12 in half to make 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6, still 24. Here we go. Just a short, quick little example. They want you to subdivide each region into smaller rectangular regions so you can find the area mentally. We're using mental math here, and that's the whole purpose of this. And we also want you to think, this gets you to think about the distributive property. Now, that will be reinforced in class tomorrow. So 16, you might be thinking, well, 16, the easiest way to do that is, okay, I could divide that right in half. If I divide that right in half, I know each of these are going to be 8. And then dividing 25 up is just a little more difficult for some, not for all, but for some. When you divide 25 up, we're thinking, okay, 25. Well, 25, 5 times 5. And that's really, other than getting one group of 25, that's all you're going to get because of the factors of 25. In order to make 5 different spaces here, I have to make 4 lines. So I do want you guys to know that before you start tonight's lesson. It is, in order to estimate well, you know, if I made it into fourths, I would cut that in half and then that in half, and that would be fourths. So I'm going into fifths, so I know I need to be just a little bit smaller than fourths. Try to draw lines as straight as possible, but I understand if you can't. You know, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I know they're not going to be 100% equivalent, and then I would just mark 5, 5, 5, 5, and 5. And I can always check myself as I go. I have 5 5s. I know that's 25. Now, what would be the area of this rectangle without a calculator? Without a calculator, I know that each one of these have an area of 40 because of 8 times 4. So I know I'm just going to take 40 and multiply it by how many? Well, 40, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, oh, 10. Look at that. So in my work, I'm taking 40, and I know that I'm going to have 10 groups of 40. So understand that's 40 units times 10 units. 40 units times 10 units. My science colleagues would scold me if I failed to mention that to you. And the reason why it's so important now, you know, this is math class, so I don't mind if you forget the units right here. I do mind if you forget the units at the end. So when you state your final answer, as 400, you need to say 400 square units. And you can just say SQ units. But you must remember the area is measured in square units. That is of supreme importance. So hopefully that example will help you to complete 5, 6, and 7. And again, the goal here, we are exploring the distributive property. In class tomorrow, we're going to talk about how we use the distributive property for this. But right now, mental math. For homework tonight, mental math. Thank you very much for listening, and have a wonderful, wonderful time doing the homework.